Am I live? I think this is my first ever live stream, at least on YouTube. So bear with me now. This is going to be a little trial period. I mean, most of y'all only got like 45 minutes of notice, but I do want to talk about one thing in particular other than answering y'all's questions. And that is the title of the video, the live stream, which is I don't understand my own code, but we'll get to that in a second. What is up, guys? What's up, Brian? Idris, Swaha Gaming, Cold Shot, Kalonji, Jack, Adam. What's up, guys? It's good to see y'all. But I want to talk about I don't understand my own code because there are a few videos that I wanted to make similar to my first program I ever coded video, where basically I went back to the first program I ever coded and I wanted to kind of look into basically the program as a whole. And I told you guys about the artificial intelligence programs that I had going on. And with that, I was going into my old GitHub repositories where some of those were like Connect 4, Sudoku, and things of that nature. But I kind of don't remember a lot of what I coded. So that's where the whole I don't understand my own code comes from. What, did I mispronounce your name? Idris, sorry. Can you please do a website for yourself walkthrough? In all honesty, the very first video on this channel is similar to like what I would consider my own website, but it's really just a template that I filled in. Other than that, I would just use a basic template website in order to go in and fill out any portfolio or whatever. Yeah, I do want to do some artificial intelligence videos, Jack. I just need to essentially take a step back and go further into what I did in those programs instead of trying to go in and looking at it for the first time in a year. Because in my previous video, what I did was it was the first time I seen that my first program I ever coded in 3, 4, 5 years. And that's what I want to do with my artificial intelligence programs. But since my memory didn't serve me well, I've been going back and kind of studying that and really understanding what I did in those programs. And I'm going to make a video going over exactly what I did in those programs. So it does appear that I am live streaming. You gain weight. Did you start gym? I don't know. I think it's the camera. I think my other camera makes me look like skinnier, the way the widescreen is and whatnot. I don't know. But I'm trying to get into the gym lately. I'm trying to beat the whole new year, new me rush, because in January the gym is hectic. I'm trying to get back up to my old weight, which is like 20 pounds more than I'm sitting at now. What's up, Andrew? How's it going? Can you code right now? In all honesty, I'm using the YouTube live stream feature. I'm not even streaming through OBS, which is what I would normally stream through, like over on Twitch or something. So I don't even think I can display my screen. Plus, I don't know how people code in real life. Like, this is hectic enough. Like, I'm kind of anxious to be sitting here live streaming in front of y'all. So like actually coding in front of y'all, I feel like I wouldn't be able to interact with anyone, let alone even focus on what I'm trying to code. So I don't know how people pull it off with streaming their coding sessions, but kudos to those people. I'm not one of them. Like I said, which would you recommend, computer science or computer information technology, information systems? It really just depends what you want to go into. If you want to be more so programming a lot of stuff, or if you want to be working on computer science theory and data science and that type of work, then I would definitely recommend computer science. But if you want to go into like what is known as traditional IT work, then I would say go with the computer information technology. Based on what my friends have told me, that is a little bit easier. And so if you're going for that particular career path, it'd probably be a wiser choice to take the easier route. But you'll still learn a lot, don't get me wrong. Is Creamy TV, is cybersecurity and ethical hacking hard? Yeah, as far as I know, I'm no professional, but I've done my fair share of looking around in that realm, and it seems pretty hard. You're writing a lot of scripts, a lot of code, or you can be a script kiddie, which some people do that, that look into penetration testing. That's something that I was actually considering going into until I realized, like, I don't really know if I want to be on the security side of things. But if you look into penetration testing, and I'm sure Udemy or some other sites have courses on ethical hacking, you'll learn a little bit more about it. Quantum computing sounds interesting. Yeah, it does. I actually saw this one video. I don't remember what channel or company uploaded it. It was basically saying, explaining quantum physics or quantum computing to like beginners, average people, professionals, so on and so forth. It was very informative going through all of the different iterations of how you can explain quantum computing to some people. Why don't you like web development? In all honesty, I've been liking web development a lot more lately. I think it was just the fact that I couldn't really dive into something without thinking I'm missing out on something else. For example, if I wanted to work on something with the lamp stack, what if I thought, the mean stack would be better for what I did? And I just kind of was fiddling around with all these different technologies instead of focusing on one. That's kind of why I went the iOS development route. Swift was the language, Xcode is the IDE, and the App Store is the distribution platform. So in terms of web development, I was just kind of lost when I was first entering it. But now that I've done actually a lot of web development at work, I'm liking it. Oscar, how do you feel about a degree focused on mobile app development? If that's what you want to get into, then I guess that's what you should emphasize your degree in. Is it like an emphasis within computer science or within like a software development degree, or is that like the actual degree, mobile app development? Never heard of it, but I know my emphasis was in machine learning and app development, which a lot of which was mobile app development. So it's kind of what I did. I'm a beginner class in computer science. Very cool, man. Very cool. Does game development require a lot of code, and can you get reasonable jobs with it? I would say you get reasonable jobs with it. As many of y'all know, I'm located in Virginia Beach, Virginia, which isn't too far away from Cary, North Carolina, and that is where Epic Games is located. And what's cool about Epic Games or any type of game development is that a lot of what you do, there's already an engine out there. Instead of building everything from scratch, you can use something like the Unreal Engine, which is Epic Games Engine, or you can use something like Unity, which is the more known, the more typical game development engine that someone can use, and it makes things a lot easier for you. Have you ever used Adobe Dreamweaver? No, I've heard of it. Isn't that like kind of like a web design app by Adobe or something like that? I don't know. Maybe I'm way wrong. What do I know? Yes, don't reinvent the wheel. I'm assuming that's about the game development. Yeah. Could you get an entry-level web development job with self-taught HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, even without a degree? Yeah, I mean, people have before. The thing is, when you don't have a degree, you need something to show for your work. Even when you do have a degree, you need to show off your work with some type of portfolio. The main way to do that is to have a GitHub account and have all of your projects on there. Of course, if you have live websites, that's even better, but who wants to host like 5 websites for a portfolio? You can go on GitHub Pages, which I think you're only allowed to have one for free, at least as a student. I'm not 100% sure how that works, but you can essentially do free hosting through GitHub Pages. So you can essentially hold that as your own portfolio website if you want to expand further than just having your code on GitHub. Are you still working on your own iOS app? That has really been put on the back burner, Sky, and mainly because the way I separate my days is at work. I'm at work 8, 9, 10 hours a day if you include the commute, and that is a lot of programming, a lot of typical software engineer, software development work. And then when I come home, I split it up into spending time with my family, which is my wife and my dog, and if I want to see my brothers and my parents, of course, and then it has to do with YouTube and whatever other side projects I have going on. And in all honesty, I'd rather be making YouTube videos than working on the iOS application. I know that sounds bad, but I am working on this. I don't know if I want to call it a transformation, but I am working on this new series on YouTube. Actually, it's like a vlog series where I want to essentially dedicate 3 days, 1 hour a day for roughly 3 days a week, similar to what you would do on a workout. You work out 1 hour a day, 3 to 5 days, right? Why don't I have a schedule like that with coding for my own personal projects? And that's kind of what I want to get into. And I want to track my progress with whatever I'm working on, whether that be the stock trading algorithm, which I am working on, or the iOS application, which, like I said, is kind of on the back burner. And that's just kind of where I need to go on from here on out. And one other reason why the iOS application isn't really my priority is because I would want to form a business around this iOS application, and working 40 plus hours a week as a software engineer plus doing all my YouTube work, I don't think I would have enough time to spend maintaining that application and doing all the marketing and essentially treating that as a whole entire startup in and of itself. So that's one of the main reasons. Did you initially have any trouble finding work on the East Coast? Asks Austin. No, not really. In all honesty, in terms of computer science work, I found two internships when I was in college as a computer science student. One was at Norfolk Southern. The other one was at NASA Langley, but it was actually through a contracting company, which I've mentioned in previous videos. It's called SSAI. You can see that all on my LinkedIn. It's not like it's a secret or anything. And those were fairly easy to find. I've mentioned those, how I found those in previous videos. But this current job that I have now, I was hooked up to the owner of the company at which I work from a fellow coworker from when I had my internship at Norfolk Southern. So I kind of fell into it, if you will. Have you been on the deep web such as Tor? Yes, I've dabbled around with Tor. No, I haven't really dabbled into the deep web. I don't really care to, in all honesty. There's some dark stuff in there, you know? Migu says, how did you study or practice code while in school? I don't know. You can see a lot of it on like previous on my channel, my iDev journey. All of that was during school, where I took an online course. Basically, it was a Udemy course, and basically taught myself iOS development using that course and other resources that I found online, alongside doing some of my my computer science work. What was the worst semester of my life, if you will, was when I was learning iOS development. I was making YouTube videos. I was going to school full time, plus I was doing that internship at Norfolk Southern full time. When I mean full time, I mean I was working 8 to 5 every single day, commuting roughly an hour in total a day. So that was 10 hours out of my day. And then I had to do all the schoolwork and everything I just mentioned behind that. So 4 to 5 hours of sleep during that semester, that wasn't that much fun. Andrew asks, any tips for technical interviews and how to solve questions fast? I mean, I did make 1 or 2 videos, maybe even 3 videos on my channel in the past, where I kind of go over a little bit in terms of interviews. I don't know about solving the questions fast, as it kind of, you need to essentially reverse engineer your thoughts, express your thoughts, kind of talk out what you're working on. And it's not necessarily you have to be fast or slow unless they have a time limit, which that would kind of suck. But I don't really have much help on that one. Sorry. Which is the best website for Java beginners? Mission Condor. There's a lot of different avenues where you can learn Java. Just Google, beginner Java tutorial. The best way to start is to start. In all honesty, I've actually been going through the Exorcism Java track, which it's like a whole entire free thing of. It's very nice, very structured, and it'll teach you a lot about the command line as well as about Java development or whatever other language track that you want to use. So that's kind of what I've been going through recently, kind of refresh myself with a lot of the Java work, the basic Java work that I may have forgotten in the past, because I'm about to be thrown into this giant enterprise Java software. So I need to really make sure from the bottom up, I'm prepared for this particular contract within the company. Sergio, quick question. I'm going to be in my second semester for computer science. I'm going to be taking my second Java class, but I also want to try a beginner C++ course as well. Would this be too difficult? So you want to take your second Java class alongside the beginner C++ course? I don't think that would be too difficult. I guess it depends on what other classes you're taking during that semester. But if you're talking about intro level courses, it may be overwhelming depending on how comfortable you feel coming from Java. But the thing about Java and C++ is that they're very similar. There's only a few differences like garbage collection and inheritance and things of that nature, but you'll be able to translate a lot of the syntax from your entry-level Java class to your entry-level C++ class. So it shouldn't be too difficult. How old am I, Cold Shot? I am 23. I'll be 24 on February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day. What are your future plans? I have a lot of future plans. Future plans would include growing the YouTube channel. I'm really liking the YouTube channel and the communication that we're able to have through here. And I want to work my way up to where the YouTube channel can essentially be my foundation for work, essentially for my income. So then I'm able to focus more time on the projects that I want to work on. So if I want to work on my iOS application, I'll have more time because I have YouTube as a foundation to essentially finance my iOS application, if you will. Austin, what is the hardest programming concept for you to grasp? I don't know. In all honesty, I don't know. And for those of y'all, if I'm skipping over some of y'all's messages, I apologize, but it's kind of hard to read all of them at once without talking. You know what I mean? So call me Chris. I'm trying to create a schedule with programming as well. Learning from the book, doing C++ is hard to stay focused sometimes. It is hard to stay focused sometimes. I have a lot of times where I will have to, I don't know. I will make sure everything is limited. I'll put in headphones and not even play anything just so nobody bothers me. And you just kind of have to focus. As hard as that sounds and as bad as that sounds, you just kind of have to make yourself do it. There's one thing that I've realized lately where I'm kind of the type of person who wants to do what he wants to do, when he wants to do it. And if I feel motivated to go to the gym, then I'll go to the gym. If I feel motivated to make a YouTube video, I'll make a YouTube video. What I've realized recently is what I really need to do is, instead of being motivated, be disciplined. So I need to make sure that I'm disciplined in spending 1 hour a day, 3 days a week in the gym, 1 hour a day, 3 days a week coding for my own projects, 1 hour a day, 3 days a week for my YouTube channel and making those videos. It'll be more than 1 hour, 3 hours a week, but you get the idea. That's kind of what you need to do. Set everything else aside, make sure there's no social media going on, and just try to focus on exactly what you have at hand. Yes, I am 23. Don't be hard on yourself, Adam. What was the first programming language that I learned? Java. I took like a single Java entry-level course, which was my first dive into programming ever. I mean, I did shift around with a few different other programs and whatnot, but Java was the main one. But then I transferred over to C++ because I transferred colleges, and then we transferred back over to Java within ODU. Cold Shot, how old are you? I'm 23. I'll be 24 in February. Appreciate the super chat. I think that's what this is called. I really appreciate that. You're the first ever super chat. Cold Shot 528. Thank you, sir. Or madam. Thank you, Stewie. Stewie's a sir. So thank you, Stewie. What's the difference between IS and IT? What is that? Information systems and information technology? By definition, in all honesty, I'm not sure. I know you're getting a lot of questions and you answered one for me on your channel before. I'm 24 going into my junior year of computer science classes. Any tips for CS2? What do you mean CS2? Just for... I think my advice for going into computer science is really taking advantage of your office hours and looking into what you need to figure out. Essentially, just like your programming, what you want to try to do is figure out what your code is and kind of what problem you're trying to solve. And if you can't figure out how to solve that problem, use the internet. If the internet doesn't solve your problems, explain that problem to yourself out loud and figure out if you can fix that bug or fix that problem. If you can't do anything, you have a good understanding of what's going on, but then go to your teacher, go to your professor's office hours and figure out everything. That's the main tip for college. Use your professors because you're paying for it. What is the hardest part of being a YouTube content creator? For me personally, it's that whole, the whole consistency thing where I do things when I want to do it, where I need to be more disciplined, and consistency for me is kind of the hardest, in all honesty. If you don't have some of the qualifications for computer science internships, is it still worth applying to them? So, I mean, if you have some of them, you're saying if you don't have some of the qualifications, I would say it's still worth applying to them. In all honesty, they're not going to say, oh, this guy applied last year and he didn't have the right qualifications. What does he think he's doing applying again this year? So essentially, there's nothing bad that's going to come out from applying, except for they say no. If you're a sensitive person, then that may say like, oh man, you might feel like a failure after that, but just apply to places. Make sure you cater your resume to their job listing as long as it's an honest resume. And because you want to hit all the keywords, because it's the human resources people who don't really understand much code, but they understand matching the job listing to the resume, who go through your resume and will pass it on to the manager or developer or throw it in the trash. I'm 14 years old, high school student. I started learning Java from the internet, also Android. So you think they teach more than the university? It really all depends on your university. I mean, of course, there are more resources online for everything in the world than there is in university, but it's good to have somebody there to answer your specific questions than having to go on something like Stack Overflow trying to find the answer to those specific questions. Would you recommend someone from Europe move to in the US to major in computer science? Thanks for answering. Also, I love your channel. If that's the way to go, I don't know much about overseas cultures and how things are over there for computer science, but Old Dominion University, which is a college that I went to, I believe I was in the minority of being a local person in the computer science program, at least in a lot of my classes. Not in all of them, but in a lot of my classes, most of the students were exchange students from India or from other places that aren't the United States. So essentially foreign students. So a lot of people do it. A lot of people ask you only about programming. It's like you don't do anything except that. I kind of did that to myself, considering my channel is based around programming. For those of you who don't know, I like snowboarding and fishing and surfing, and I played a lot of baseball when I was younger. So that's just a little sneak peek into what I do outside of this. How do you deal with comparing yourself to other developers? Try not to. Whenever I compare myself to another developer, I feel like I'm always worse than them. So without, I'm normally very, very content with who I am, but I guess that comes with me not comparing myself to other people. I'm a sophomore in high school. What class do you think is best? I want to become a software engineer, cybersecurity. What do you recommend? White hat. Good. Good to be a white hat. You don't want to be a black hat hacker because you'll probably get caught and arrested. I don't know what classes y'all, if they offer any programming classes in your school, take it. Why not? What types of projects should I do aside from my university degree? Whatever projects that you would want to do in your regular job. So if you want to be a web developer, work with that job. If you want to work for a specific company as a web developer, learn what stack they use to build their web applications and websites and learn that stack so you're qualified to work at that company, so on and so forth. How do you stop procrastinating? Still trying to figure that one out. I'm the worst procrastinator you will ever meet. Why might I need a computer science degree in the real world? To open up doors. So the degree as it is, it opens up a lot of doors. It'll get your foot in the door at particular companies where otherwise, if you don't have a computer science degree on your resume, they'll just throw it in the trash. As sad as that sounds, because there are a lot of people who are better at the job at hand without a degree than those who are. It really shows that you're able to, how to learn, and you learn how to adapt to particular situations. That's kind of what college is all about. So that kind of shows you, or shows the employer what you have to offer if you have a computer science degree. Plus, you learn a lot during the computer science degree. What are the best colleges for learning programming? A lot of those Ivy League schools. I mean, just look at the top computer science colleges or programs or whatever, and you'll see stuff like Stanford, MIT, Harvard. Well, I don't know if Harvard is all the way up on the list, but you'll see a lot of those really good schools. If I could get into one of those, I would have. Can I be a software engineer with a math degree? Yeah, I'd think so. As long as you have a portfolio to prove that you can do the software engineering aspect, math degree is a good degree, in my opinion, at least. Because the thing about software engineering, or maybe not software engineering, you can be a software engineer, but the thing about computer science is a lot of people like to correlate that with the engineering program at schools, like computer engineering or electrical engineering or mechanical engineering. But computer science is more so correlated with the math section. It is more so a math degree than an engineering degree. It's kind of where those meet. What computer do you use for developing? At work, I think, in all honesty, I'm not 100% sure. I think my computer is a Dell Inspiron 15-inch. I hook those up to 2 monitors at work. At home, what do I normally use my old mid-2012 MacBook Pro, which I will probably be upgrading in 2019. And I don't really use this computer for development that much, which is like a custom PC from 2014. Baseball question. What do you think about Bryce Harper maybe getting traded? I don't know. Very interesting. I mean, what is the situation with him right now? Is he trying to hold out for more money? So kind of what is at hand? And I mean, I can kind of understand the demand of people and, they wanting more money, but there's also that case. It's like, who are you going to win a championship with? I feel like more money, that's nice in the short term, but winning championships and being good with a good team, that's where legacy comes in. And that's what I would be more concerned about. So I don't know. It's a very interesting aspect. Have you heard of Flutter? If so, what are your thoughts? Flutter is that Google thing, right? Flutter is like the cross-platform mobile application that Google created. I think it's very interesting, especially considering not too long ago, Google just essentially was like, yeah, Kotlin is the official language for Android development, instead of waiting and saying, this is the official platform for Android development, but also you can make an Android application and it will be able to be an iOS application. If I were that team, I would have gone about it that way. So Android developers will focus on Flutter, and then they can kill 2 birds with 1 stone by creating iOS applications at the same time. Yo, my top chat keeps like blinking in and out. In all honesty, I wasn't expecting over 100 people in here. Thank you guys. Info upgraders. I'm honestly 12 years old and I know a lot about technology. I know how to code JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. I hope you can give me some tips, and I also want to go to MIT to be an engineer. Thanks. The only tips I can give you is based on what you just told me in that message. And if you want to go to MIT, make sure you do incredibly well in school. Take as many AP classes, look into what it takes to get into MIT, maybe even reach out to somebody who has gone to MIT or is working at MIT or is a recruiter at MIT. Initiative is very good. And if you just reach out and ask, that may make them remember your name, and do whatever it takes. As many AP classes, get really good grades in it to get into MIT, and then go from there. I'm 13 and currently making my own programming language in C++, and it's my 5th prototype and the best so far. You're making your own programming language? Way to make me feel inferior. Thanks, man. Yeah, that's very interesting. In work, do people usually look at Stack Overflow? Because I do. I mean, my chat keeps blinking out. Stack Overflow, I do. I mean, it's too hard to remember code, like even the basic ones. I use Stack Overflow. Everyone I know uses Stack Overflow when they need to use Stack Overflow. In all honesty, it wasn't until 2 months ago that I actually used Stack Overflow to ask a question. Before then, I would just use Stack Overflow because most of my questions were already on there and solved. So then I was able to kind of take that solution and mold it into what I needed it to do. I'm not saying copy and pasting into what I have. I'm saying understanding how they solved the problem and then solving my problem. How can I become a programmer but be a game developer? I mean, if you're a game developer, you're programming. The thing about programming is that's like a tool in a software developer's belt. Programming is actually like coding. Whereas, I mean, I'm getting into the semantics here, but whatever. Software engineering is kind of what you would be doing, or game development is what you would be doing. And one of the tools that you'd be using in game development is programming. A little bit off topic. Do you watch Dragon Ball? Yes, I do. I haven't been keeping up with the, what is it? Dragon Ball Super. Isn't Dragon Ball Super like just a newly animated Dragon Ball Z? But I've watched all of Dragon Ball Z. I'm really stoked that they are making Broly manga, because it used to just be like some third-party person who created Broly. But since Dragon Ball Super is being overwatched and all these new stories are being integrated from the original creator of Dragon Ball, it's actually part of it. Broly is actually part of it, and he's one of my favorites. Teen Gohan is my favorite Dragon Ball Z character ever, for the record. Muhammad, do you think that it will make a difference if I'm majoring in software engineering instead of CS. Depends on what you want to do. If you want to be software engineer, software engineering would be better in my opinion. But if you want to go into something that would be better suited for computer science, then computer science all the way. But yeah, software engineering would be a good degree. I've been following you since you began your journey for iOS with the Dev Slopes course on Udemy and had less than 2K followers on YouTube. Just want to say, keep up the good work. I appreciate that, BCSGO. Thank you. I remember when I had 2K. In all honesty, at the beginning of this year, I had less than 4,000 subscribers. My goal by the end of this year was to hit 10,000 subscribers. We hit that at the beginning of April, and now we're sitting at 40,000 subscribers. Man, I'm stoked on that. Hards, what skills can help me in software engineering course? I'm not sure I understand your question. What skills can help you in this? I mean, software engineering skills can help you programming and whatever they're teaching you, learning whatever they're teaching you. When I was 12, I used to print Hello World. Yeah, I know. Same. When I was 12, I was learning how to use Internet Explorer. I hope you no longer use the skills that you learned in using Internet Explorer, because the only thing Internet Explorer is good for is downloading Chrome or Firefox or something else. Hair routine, please. 11 out of 10. Yo, just take a shower, take a towel, dry off your hair with a towel, go like this. Good to go. What's the difference between computer science and software engineer? Computer science is a very broad topic where that encompasses essentially anything that has to do, like software engineering would be a subset of computer science, the way I see it at least. Software engineering is very specific. I start my computer science degree in January. I'm excited, but also nervous. Any tips? Just roll in, use your office hours, and do your best. Just treat it like school, treat it like a job, treat it like something that you need to get done, and you'll get it done. Do you take any courses at Udemy? Yeah, that's how I learned iOS development. And as of late, I haven't been doing that much Udemy. I've actually been using another platform, Skillshare, which they're actually going to be a sponsor in the next video. I think should be coming out Friday or something, which I'm pretty stoked about. But more so over there, I've been using them for like marketing purposes, because that's a bit of what I do at my software engineering job, as well as like videography and stuff like that to help on YouTube. But as far as learning new languages, right now, all I'm focused on is Java. I'm using Exorcism to really refresh what I do with Java, and then a bit of web development work, and then Python with the stock trading algorithm, which I haven't updated you guys on, but I will shortly. I promise. What's your daily driver smartphone? An iPhone 7, I think, or 8. I don't know. They all look the same, but it's not one of the new ones. You have a bright future. I bet you'll get 500K subs next year. This industry is booming. Dude, that would be crazy. I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't bet any of my money on it, but I appreciate the kind words. I appreciate your work. Thank you, Animal. So I'm taking a break from the semester. What advice do you have to keep busy? Do whatever will keep you busy. If you're treating this as a break, then treat it as a break. If you want to actually try to dive into some of your own projects, then dive into some of your own projects. But if you just want to go and surf and snowboard and fish all day, every day, then do that. Do we actually learn advanced math for programming? I mean, simple math is enough, I guess. I mean, advanced math, like if you want to get into the whole artificial intelligence side of things, at least the little bit that I did in my course, linear algebra was huge, matrices and stuff like that. You'll use a bit of that. But calculus, I don't think so. What laptop would you recommend for a computer science major? I'm a freshman trying to get a new laptop. I did make a video on this where I did talk about like the best laptops for computer science majors, but if you don't want to go and watch that whole video, I used a MacBook Pro throughout my computer science career, if you will, but I understand not everyone is a Mac fan. Go ahead and just get whatever laptop suits you. If you're a gamer, get a laptop that can game, because then if it can game, then obviously you can program or code. You can do whatever you need to on it, or just get something like a cheap Dell Inspiron. That's actually what I use at work, so that can be good as well. Having that Gucci Dell G5. Having problem Blinked out again. Having problem in landing my first internship. What should I do? Make sure you do everything that I've talked about in the past, which is cater your resume to the job listing, as in use the keywords, because I actually mentioned this earlier in the live stream. The people who look at your resumes, for the most part, are human resource people. They're not going to look at the skills you have and say, oh yeah, this person could do well in this position. They're going to look at the job listing. They're going to see all these keywords, all these different platforms and tools and languages that you use. They're going to look at your resume, and if it doesn't match up, they're going to throw it in the trash. For the people who do match up, they're going to get pushed on to the next for the most part. So make sure you cater it, but make sure you're being honest. Don't say, yeah, I can do all this when you really can't. Why most of the programmers hate object-oriented programming languages? I don't think that's necessarily the case. I mean, a lot of people use Java and C++ and Swift and all these other object-oriented programming languages. I mean, you can use them outside of the whole OOP area, but they are object-oriented programming languages. But when you first get into object-oriented programming, that's where people can kind of be like, screw this, I don't want to do it. Because it just adds a whole entire other complexity to the equation that you thought you were fine without. Have you ever failed a computer science course in college? Yes, and that's all I want to talk about it. Is 3.8 GPA good for freshmen in high school? Yeah, as long as you can maintain it. I'm loving the new low-level. I'm loving the low-level programming in my computer science degree. Thought on what I should start to specialize in? Whatever you want to specialize in. Depending on what company you want to work on and what job you want to have, specialize in what it takes to get you to that point. What are you coming right now? Computer science major from Michigan State here. I don't understand the question. Sorry. Is a high schooler interested in machine learning? How do you think I should go about trying to get an internship? An internship within high school? I don't know. I never took an internship in high school. I was digging ditches for landscaping and stuff like that. So if you're already looking into that type of stuff, you're already ahead of me. So I'm not sure I can, other than my typical internship advice, I can't give you anything else. Later, Shadow Tech. Thank you for tuning in. Thoughts on Python? Python's good. I don't think it's there's mixed perspectives on whether or not Python is good for entry level programmers, as in it's the first language you learn, because it's good where it's kind of easy to catch on to because the syntax is very simple. But in my opinion, it's also bad because if you learn Java as your first language, it's easy to learn all of the other languages like Swift or Python or C++ or C# or what have you. But if you learn Python and then go over to Java or C++ or other languages, you understand the concepts, which is really the main point. But in terms of syntax, there's going to be a little bit of growing pains there. According to my computer science teacher, everything in C# is a string. Can you confirm or deny this claim? I don't think so. Everything is a string. Like all of the values are string values. I don't know. I don't think so. That wouldn't make any sense, would it? I don't think I've ever even used C#. I've used C, C++, Java. The only thing I know about C# is people say that C# is the better Java. Thoughts on Flutter? I mentioned this earlier. I think Flutter will be pretty cool. I just wish that I feel like Google should have said Flutter is our main Android development platform, but it also makes iOS applications instead of selling it as a cross-platform tool and still saying like, yeah, do Kotlin and Android Studio for native development. They went about it a different way than I would have. Maybe they know more than me. So about to start making coding tutorials for Wix Code and other stuff and tips for the video making. How much FaceTime versus straight coding? Whatever you feel suits your style the best. Your first video, if it's anything like mine, isn't going to be good, and you're just going to get better from there on out. So what I did is when I was just talking, I would kind of zoom in on my face as sort of like an intro. But what I also did was when we were on the coding portion of things, I would have my face down in like the lower corner, like right here, where the whole entire other screen or the rest of the screen was my Xcode, and it had all of my code in there. So I would have FaceTime, but then I would also have whatever's on my screen. Do you know Fortnite? I do know Fortnite. I've actually streamed Fortnite on Twitch a few times before. I'm actually fairly decent from what people tell me. Humble brag. But I don't really play it too much anymore. Maybe at most once a week for the past few weeks. So been trying to discipline myself a little bit more, like I said, and get into things that'll benefit me long term while still enjoying my time. That's why I only play it like once a week. What's the difference between computer science and applied mathematics focusing on computer science? Since I've never done applied mathematics focusing on computer science, I couldn't tell you, but I would figure they'd be fairly similar rather. Whereas computer science is mainly math, and you are essentially implementing math within computer programs. Maybe applied mathematics is something similar, maybe even more focused on math. I'm not 100% sure. What type of project should I do? I am CS major second year. Do whatever projects your professors tell you to do. For your side projects, do whatever projects you want to do. See you later. Adios. Do you plan to pursue any postgrad degree? If not, why? No, I do not, because I'm kind of over school, to be honest with you. Like after my first like 3 years into college, probably, who am I kidding? My first 2 years in, I was already over it. But since I already committed, I had to finish it up. I'm already over school as it is, and I just really don't want to go back. That's really why. I've learned the basic of Python. Now what can I do with Python to build a foundation for programming? Find my best recommendation. If you know the basics of a particular programming language, find a simple tutorial online, whether that be on medium.com. There's good tutorials over there, or whatever website you find. Do that simple program in that language, and then that'll help you understand how a program is put together. But in order to really get into learning, implement a feature into that program. Once you implement a feature into that program, implement another feature, because if you're just following a tutorial and then you create that app from that tutorial, you're not really learning that much. But if you have a base application and you are putting in one of your custom features, that's where you really learn. So that's my recommendation. Do you plan on collaborating with other computer science YouTubers? I am collaborating with someone from the website learntocodewith.me, I think it's called. Yeah, learntocodewith.me. I get confused because we're going to be going on her podcast, and I'll be collaborating with her. And I have been considering collaborating with Sean Allen, who is an iOS developer. He's not in the computer science space, but he's very heavily into the iOS development space. I talked to him earlier this year, but we never really could figure out something that worked. And since I've been out of the iOS development game for a little bit, I kind of felt like I don't want to go in there kind of ignorant. So we may be going within the first quarter of next year and creating a collab. I don't know. I'll have to reach out to him. Do you plan to pursue, blinked out again. Oh no, I already answered that. Is a software engineering degree more marketable than a computer science degree? No, not necessarily. How come you don't have a website? I'm a freshman in high school and I would love to design you one. I don't have a website. Well, I actually do have a website. It is, I don't want to tell you what website it is. It's actually private on my GitHub pages, but I essentially had a website to show off my iOS development portfolio when I wanted to do iOS freelancing. But other than that, my main website would be YouTube and would be GitHub. I don't know. I don't really feel the need right now to have a website, because what would be on it? Just like an information about me. That's kind of what the YouTube channel is all about. But I understand the importance of having a website, but I don't really care to get into it. But I appreciate the initiative of wanting to design one. What do you work on? Like technology, language? I've been working with a lot of Angular, a lot of JavaScript in at work, but this is also when I'm in between particular contracts and I'm kind of working on, I forget what it's called. You know how at Google they'll say, or particular big companies, they'll say, all right, spend a few hours out of your week and work on a project for the company for fun. So one of those like incubator projects that would be fun. I'm kind of doing a lot of that right now. I'm learning a bunch of new technologies. I've done a lot of React Native work lately, a lot of Electron work lately, which those are mainly like frameworks, if you will, but with AngularJS. But that's kind of what I've been working on. But then I'm about to hop into Java within the next 2 to 4 weeks. How do you get started into programming technology? Follow a particular tutorial, learn the basics of programming language, get into that. Systems, DevOps, or data scientist, which one would you pick? Data scientist. For my personal preference, I would pick data scientist just because I find the description of that more interesting. Other than that, I don't know. Computer science student starting YouTube videos. Let's collaborate. I'd love to help the community and make some awesome vids together. Name the topic. Let's get something together. Ben St. John. I'll consider that. Like I said, my schedule isn't where I need it to be right now, so it's hard for me to schedule things ahead of time, but I'll keep you in mind. I'll write you down right here, actually. So if we can get something together, I'm sure you have a business email within your about section, and I'll shoot you an email once I get everything figured out, if I get everything figured out. You're the new Steve Jobs. Yeah. That would, I would love to accept that compliment, but I don't think I can. Any technical interview tips? Just study the technical interview questions for that particular interview. Should I try to move to Silicon Valley out of college? If that's what you want to do, go for it. I mean, if that is literally what you want to do, if you will regret not moving to Silicon Valley 5 years from now, or 5 years after you graduate from college, then you probably should move to Silicon Valley, regardless of what anyone else says. The only thing about Silicon Valley is you see they get paid like $100,000 for an entry-level position, while other places will pay $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 for an entry-level position. But you also pay a lot more in living expenses, so take that into consideration. Do you have a video talking about GitHub? As an overall topic, no, but I've talked about GitHub in specific manners, like how to push an iOS application to, or an Xcode project to GitHub and things like that. Oh, and the importance of having a GitHub. I think I made a video about that. Everyone's self-taught now. If you could go back, would you still go to college or be self-taught? I wouldn't go back. Personally, I wouldn't go back. That's because I'm happy with where I am right now. I like the job. The interesting thing about me and my computer science degree is the fact that I wouldn't be able to help you guys out if I never went and became a computer science student. So that's another interesting aspect of why I'm glad I got the computer science degree, is because I can help y'all out, share my experiences with y'all. And my YouTube channel wouldn't be where it is with all of y'all today if I didn't go to computer science, or at least that's how I see it. What are your thoughts on the future of web and mobile development? It will merge at a certain point. Mobile will fade. Just want your opinion. I don't know. I feel like one day React Native is going to be the go-to, because you build one thing, it's essentially on all platforms. But then you see people pulling away from React Native, like Airbnb did recently, and some other companies. So I don't know. This Google Flutter thing is very interesting, but a lot of what we have in store for websites, we just need to make sure every single website is at least responsive, and we need to make sure that every single application is good. It's so interesting how many poor things there are out there in the atmosphere that could really be better. Good night, Can. Have to go to work on my calc assignment. Adios. Where to get started for Python? Any website, course, article? There are a lot. I mean, you could go to Udemy. There are probably courses over there that you could use, but you'd have to pay if you want to find something for free. I've been recommending Exorcism. It's a little bit more in depth, It's not super beginner friendly because you have to use the command line and terminal, but that will be beneficial in the long run. I like to think of people hopping into programming to go into something that is the easiest thing to understand ever. But the more you learn at the beginning, the more you're able to learn in the future. Space or tabs? Tabs all the way. Is it weird that I am subscribed yet? I don't know how to code. No, it's not weird. Appreciate you for subscribing. Do you know that you look like a skinnier version of the LA Beast? I did not know that. I do not know who the LA Beast is. What are your thoughts on the future of web and mobile? Oh, I already answered that. Do you know anything about Arduino? If so, would you recommend it for learning about circuits? Yeah, I know a bit about Arduino. So you have Arduino, you have, what's the other one? What's really popular? You have Arduino, which is like a less put together than Raspberry Pi, but you can learn more. Then you have these other different circuit boards that I'm actually going to make a video about. I actually meant to order some of that stuff today. I'm going to make my own custom YouTube counter that I can kind of have right here. It'll count my subscribers, have my live subscriber count right here. And it's like this EC something board. I don't know exactly what it's called. It's some type of circuit board. And I'm going to have an LED screen attached to that and integrate the YouTube API in there. So it pulls down my live subscriber count every, I don't know, 1 minute. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't done it yet, but that's something that I want to do. So I'm going to be diving deeper into the whole Arduino circuit board, that type of scene. Not circuit board. I don't know. Whatever terminology. That's one thing that I'm really bad at is semantics and what words to use. That's why when I try to describe things, I'll use analogies instead of using the actual term, because whenever I use the actual term, I confuse myself. Do you have a LinkedIn? Yes. If you search my name on LinkedIn, you should probably find me. My name is my YouTube channel name. A lot of people think it's a fake name, but it's actually my name, Forrest Knight. I know C, C++, Java, and going to learn Python. What other language did I learn? I think you should focus on one language and get really good at that. Do you know anything about... Oh, I just failed computer architecture. Do you actually use any of that information day to day, pipelining, caching, etc.? No, not in my particular job, but you actually use some of the computer architecture work, but not any, like, not really... I don't know. I'll have to actually see what your exact curriculum is other than pipelining and caching. But for the most part, you're able to just look up what you need real quick online. And then, oh, I remember about that from my class. And then you're able to go. Do you think dual monitors are the best way to go for programming? At least. Like right now, I'm sitting on a single monitor. I couldn't imagine programming on this, even though it's 27-inch monitor, which is rather large. At my work, I have a 2 monitor setup, technically 3 because my laptop's off to the side, but I never use that. And 2 monitors, 100% the way to go. If not 3, you may not need 3, but if you're crazy, then go ahead and get 3, but 2 for sure. Hey guys, hey James Full Reader, what's up, man? I love me some Arduino, and oh, that's going to be awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited for that project because I've been looking at a lot into different hardware. That's actually something that I really wanted to do. Upon entering, I wanted to do a lot of modeling and simulation tech work, but I never really hopped into that side of things. So might as well do that now. I was thinking of doing my own home automation, but coding skills aren't as good as my ideas. Yeah, I've had that same problem. As someone that is self-taught and YouTubed your way through college, what are some topics on YouTube that you think have not been covered well, if at all? I don't know. I didn't really use too much YouTube to like get a lot of advice for college, in all honesty, so I don't really have too much insight on that. Should I have a minor in math? Sure, why not? It's just something else to have on your sheepskin, on your is that what they still call degrees nowadays? On your degree, it'll be something else to have. It'll probably just be what, another 3 courses or give or take if you're majoring in computer science. Do you prefer working with React or Vue? I've done a bit of research with this. In all honesty, I was really close to creating something in Vue, and I didn't even use React either. I have used React and almost used Vue after doing my research, and just decided to go with Angular instead. The key to life, use analogies. LOL. That's how I learned the best. If someone can relate a complex idea to me, to my everyday life that has to do with real world objects, that's the best way for me to learn. So 100% the key to learning for me. You should check out the ESP8266 Node MCU. It can do things like the YouTube project you're talking about. That actually may be what I'm thinking of. Let me look at this real quick. Actually, I have it written down in here, exactly what I need, if I can ever find it. I'm actually looking at the Wemos D1 Mini, which is like $5. This whole entire project with the LCD and the wires and the breadboard, which I'd need, and I also have like a battery pack that it can run off of if I don't want to plug it in, $18.25. That's how much that project will cost. So that's not too shabby. You know how much I like to save money. Just curious, where are you from? Virginia Beach, Virginia. Been here, born and raised. Can I touch your beard? No, only my wife can do that. What do you think is a better minor for programming, games, physics, or math? They're very much tied in together, so both, in all honesty. 2 monitors is rookies. 4 is where it's at. 4 is for rookies. What you need is like a whole entire shell where there's like 1 monitor here, 1 monitor here, 1 monitor here, and just all the way around, full 360 degrees. That's where it's at. You need full rotation of monitors. Hey, Forrest. Hey, Hercus. Oh my gosh. I always mispronounce your name. I'm so sorry. I remember you from the Twitch streams and whatnot. Tips for trying to freelance in iOS. Build your portfolio and build some type of online presence. That is one of the big reasons why I wanted to create a YouTube channel, is because an online presence really allows your potential client to connect with you. So having an online presence will actually bring you some work. I've actually had to turn down 6 or 7 iOS projects that have come my way simply because I don't have enough time between my full-time job and whatnot. Have you tried React Native for mobile development? I heard it's pretty neat. Yeah, I've used React Native at work, essentially just as a trial thing to test it out. And I thought it was pretty cool, but I still like the whole native iOS development thing. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's more fun to code iOS applications with Swift and Xcode than it is to code iOS and Android applications with React Native. However, I really don't like coding Android applications. So something like Flutter or React Native, something like that, I would heavily consider using just to have the Android side out of the way. I don't know why I don't like the Android. I just don't like Android Studio. I think that's my main problem. I should probably use another IDE for it. Spend $18 on the project and sell it to other YouTubers for $50. Yeah, that'd be nice. A little good business venture there, huh? For now, I'm just building it for myself. If anyone else asks me to make one, maybe I will. Series of you building this project. That's something a lot of YouTube channels like. That's actually what I wanted to do with my iDev journey, but I slacked off on that. And it's not necessarily that I slacked off, it's that I got really busy with school and with work and everything and with YouTube. And like I said before, I'd rather make YouTube videos than spend that time coding. But moving forward, I am going to be a little bit more disciplined with working on my side projects. So that is something I want to do, is having this next series encompass everything that has to do with the stock trading algorithm, as well as my iOS application and whatever else I care to work on. Still haven't learned how to touch type. Why was everyone so upset about me not touch typing on my job as a software engineer video? I don't understand. Y'all don't see it. I see every single comment that comes through, every single new comment. If you respond to someone else, I don't get a notification for that. But every single new comment that comes through, I see it. There's so many people that didn't like that I looked down at the keyboard to type in my password. It's like the only thing on screen are a bunch of dots. What is the point of looking at the screen when it's only a bunch of dots when I could just look down and see exactly what I'm typing? And it's a password. Passwords are weird characters and stuff. Don't judge me. Stop complaining. They speak a lot about what they do and just tips, but people like to see how you work. Yeah. If you know 2 + 2, physics would be the way to go. You're the best. Thanks, Chemo Spaz. I don't know who you are, but I'm subscribed to you. So, hey, appreciate that, John Locke. I am Forrest Knight. Nice to meet you. Oh, hell yeah. A whole shell, rolling chair, coffee, and a hoodie. Let's get it. Yes, sir. Quite nice beard you've grown. I have been growing mine for 4 months now. I appreciate that. I actually, I got to grow out my winter coat. That's kind of why I have all this going on. Plus, have you ever seen that meme of like a software developer without a job? And it's like someone nice and clean cut and whatnot. And then you see a software developer with a job. It's someone looking like me, basically. It's 5:44 here. I'm an early riser, I would say. I am not an early riser. I wake up at 7 to 7:30, which is early for me. But then again, I do get ready for work and then relax for at least like 20 to 30 minutes and then go to work. What are some good resources for starting a project? I don't know, whatever resources you need to work on that project. That wasn't a very good answer. I'm sorry. Advice for starting a CS software developer YouTube channel. Yeah, you're already a step ahead of me. When I first started my YouTube channel, I didn't even know what I wanted it to be about. I just wanted to start recording stuff and putting it online. Advice for starting a computer science software developer YouTube channel. Start making videos about computer science and software development. Stuff that you know about. I barely scraped through my first semester of computer science. I'm scared I'm going to lose interest or fail future courses because of the difficulty. Should I consider a major switch? I mean, it sounds like you already are considering a major switch. Depends on what you want to do. If you want to be software engineer or data scientist or something like that, then stick with computer science. Just stick it through. And the thing about your first semester in college is that you don't completely understand how college operates. So it may be one of your hardest semesters, except for some of those really difficult semesters. But at that point, when you hit those harder classes, you understand how college works. You understand how to pass these classes, any kind of class you're in. So it just depends on what you want to do. If you really want to have a degree in computer science, and go for it, and just make sure you use all the resources at your disposal. You think it's better to have a degree or be self-taught? I don't think, for me, to get to where I am right now, it's 100% better to have a degree, simply because the opportunities that I gained by having a degree is what got me into the position I am today. But if you want to be a programmer for a particular company, look at who works at that particular company and see if they have a computer science degree. Look on LinkedIn or something, or see if they don't have a computer science degree, and then kind of go from there. Found the channel a few days ago, and I binge watched every single one of your videos. I appreciate that, Jimmy. Hey man, just a random question. As a CS graduate, do you feel you were taught everything you needed to know to be a software engineer? No. In all honesty, no. The thing with computer science, it builds you a good foundation. It teaches you a lot about theory, about the basics of programming, about how to use those programming languages, and learn new programming languages, as well as to build bigger projects and whatnot. But if I didn't do work on my own and understand the process of concept to actually having my own program that I thought of and wasn't assigned, I wouldn't be where I am today. So if I don't have a beard, I can't be a developer. That is correct. Difference between majoring in computer science and software engineering is just computer science more theory and more based on what. Computer science is more in theory and software engineering is more practical and based on what you would do in the job, right? I think so. I think computer science is more math focused, more theory focused. You do a lot of programming, especially depending on your emphasis. But from what I've heard, software engineering is very specified. So you the man. No, you the man, Jacobo. How well did your degree prepare you for being a software engineer? Just said that. Without a beard, you can't even be a man. But then again, you don't need to be a man to be a programmer, but you also can't be a man without a beard. That's true. I joke. Love you, bro. Love you too, manish. All right. Thanks for the advice. Yeah, man. What resources did you use to practice your programming skills? College and Udemy, Stack Overflow, everything, books. I don't know. I don't even like reading, and I still used books. Did you do an internship in undergrad? Was it out of town? If so, how was the experience? both of them were technically out of my town. It just made for a longer commute. But as it was said in Dexter, it's the beard on the inside that matters. Hey, Forest Dark Knight. Do you consume self-development content? Recommend any books? Like I said, I'm really bad with reading, something that I probably should improve on, but really isn't my focus right now because I don't really like it. But I do watch like Joe Rogan, and he has a lot of self-development people on his podcast. So in that manner, yeah, I do consume self-development content. Is computer science a saturated field right now? It's saturated with jobs. You know what's interesting is the fact of Amazon. You know how Amazon opened HQ2? They split it between Virginia and New York, I think. The reason they did that is because in Virginia, there are so many, or what was it? In Virginia, they needed to place jobs in Virginia as well as in New York City because there weren't enough people to fill all of those jobs in New York City. That's what I wanted to say. So they needed to put some of the, at least this is what I heard through the grapevine, they needed to make sure that they had enough people to fill all of their tech jobs within these HQ2s. Don't quote me on that. I just heard that from somebody else. Hello, Farce Knight. I've been following your videos since I've started learning Swift by myself. Now I'm starting to learn Android, basic Java first. Why you don't like Android Studio? I don't know. I think I'm just being biased, to be honest. I started off with Xcode, and first impressions to me are everything. Not every time, but it really says a lot. And the fact that, you know, for iOS development, I downloaded Xcode. I was able to, boom, jump right into it, do whatever I needed to do. With Android Studio, I needed to download like 10 SDKs before I even started to build a Hello World program. I didn't like that very much. But other than that, it's generally good. Don't dislike it just because I said a snide comment about it. What do I have to expect, Emilio? I'm not 100% sure what you mean by the question. Jimmy says, I'm taking a coding class as a senior in high school, and we are learning Java. It seems easy, but which language the most useful? The language is really useful for whatever problem you have at hand. If it's a problem that can be easily solved with Java, then Java is the best program. If it's or language. If it's the best, if it's a Python problem at hand, something that Python would be best in, like for me, I'm using Python for my trading algorithm stuff, then Python is the best language. Teaching yourself is good when you know someone in a company you want to join, or you simply have God mode skills. Companies still look for the degree. I agree. That's very true. But also something else that I want to touch on. Everyone that I know who graduated with me or around the same time as me, including myself, have a computer science degree, but are also self-taught. They don't learn everything that they know about software development in computer science degree. They learn iOS development on the side, or they learn web development on the side, or they learn something else, game development on the side. Have you gave Vim a second chance? Yes, I have, Jonathan. I've been using Vim for Visual Studio Code, which is kind of interesting. I mean, you know, but I like it a little bit. I understand Vim has a place. I understand that. But I would never use Vim as my sole text editor. I just understand it has a place. Do you fix your squeaky chair yet? No. Right now it's a little stiffer, but haven't gotten the WD-40 out yet. Going to community college, a bad idea, and then transfer later? No, that's exactly what I did. I went to community college for 2 years. Then I went to a random college for a semester, and then I went to ODU for 2 years. If you can answer this, can you explain how you use object-oriented programming, specifically like in Java to code for a client? And could you possibly give an example of something you would make? Right now, with what I have on hand, no. Maybe in a future video, I can really get into the specifics of that. I think I'm going to wrap up here in the next 5 minutes. So that would take a little bit longer than those 5 minutes. You look like Bertram Guilfoyle. Don't know who that is. Not sure if I should say thank you or not. Yes, it is. I went 2 years community college and transferred to uni, got a full-time developing job my last semester. Another case of the ways of community college. Plus, it saves a lot of money. Like nobody looks at, oh, he didn't spend all 4 years at his college. Nobody looks at that. They see, oh, he graduated from X university with a computer science degree. That's all they look at. Plus, you, like I said, you save money at community college. I'm learning Python as of now. I know the syntax very well. What should I do next? Build a small project and then implement your own features into that project. That project can be your own project or it could be a tutorial, but make sure the features are your own custom features. Or do what Bilal said and learn Python frameworks like Django and Flask. That's an option as well. What computer science class did you take at Virginia Wesleyan? How did you know I went? Did I mention in the past that I went to Virginia Wesleyan? I took like an intro to Java class. That's that random college that I went to. And that was actually my best entry. That was my best programming class ever. If I didn't have that programming class, I don't know how I would have fared in ODU, to be honest with you. The teacher was amazing. For speaking facts, I'm currently in school and taking Udemy courses on the side. It's a mix. I started rewriting tools that already existed from scratch and improved on them. I started by using Py2 to recreate a YouTube MP3 app. That's a way to go about it, Brian. How do you feel about Swift? I like Swift. Hi, Samuel. Do you think college should be less expensive than it currently is? Yes, and I can get into the depths of this, but I think college is expensive as it is right now because colleges know banks will loan that money to students. It doesn't matter what colleges charge. People will still go to college, and the way they get that money is from banks. Banks are going to loan out this amount of money, whatever the college asks for, to the students, no matter what. I mean, there are some students who won't be qualified for it, but that's why I think college is at the level it is right now. I do think it's a bit too expensive for what it is. I do still think that you should pay for college though, simply because how serious, like for me, I didn't take high school very seriously, but since college, I was paying for college, I took it a little bit more seriously. If college was free, for example, I don't know. I feel like it would desaturate the worth of the college degree. Thoughts on blockchain development hype? Now with the bear market, people don't feel as excited about Bitcoin. Yeah, well, the thing is, Bitcoin is very close related to blockchain, but blockchain is very, very much more broad than just Bitcoin. It has much more potential than just Bitcoin. Hey, Forrest Knight. I just finished my A levels of computer science, and next year I will study computer science at the university. What should I do in the meantime that I could be of great help later? I don't know. Just do whatever you need to do for that class. I mean, I don't know. How much does GPA matter? I've never been asked my GPA ever, so take with that what you will. What do you think about C#? I haven't used it that much or even at all, if I recall correctly, but I hear it's good. Do you know anything about network cybersecurity? If so, is it hard to get into? I don't know more than the average person who's researched it and maybe looked at it as a potential career, but I think it is a difficult thing to learn, to grasp. The whole network security thing is over my head, I feel like. Do you deal with imposter syndrome? Yeah, I feel like I dealt with imposter syndrome more when I didn't have a job. Now that I have a job, although I still have waves of it where like I spend a whole entire day on a particular bug. I'm like, am I really cut out for this? But I try to do my best to put that aside and focus on what I need to get done and try to get it done. How much calculus do you use regularly? I don't. What programming language do you think will be more popular in 2019? In all honesty, everything that's popular today. Does GPA matter a lot? Just answered that one. Duke Nation. I can breathe. And it's true CS majors are self-taught too, since you can learn a lot more about a specific topic by learning online and making your projects. Very true. C++ or Java. Personally, Java. I'm a current sophomore student. Can an internship be an option? Yeah. If you can prove that you're able to fulfill the job, the internship at hand, then yeah. Talk to your advisor, because your advisor will get a lot of emails from alumni and companies to notify undergraduates about internship opportunities and job opportunities. So talk with her or him and figure out what you can do as a sophomore for internships. I've taken a computer science class at high school where I am learning Java. I have a web app project in mind. What would require machine learning? Should I learn Python for back end, or does Java work? I think it would work. Yeah, Java would work. I've used Java with machine learning before. If I can't get college loan, but already have been coding for a year or so, would going to a coding school only to build connections a good idea if I have enough money for that, or slowly pay a class? I don't know. I've never been to a coding school. I've heard people really like them, but I don't know if going to that solely for connections is the right way to go about it. So with that being said, I'm not too knowledgeable on that, so I'm sorry I can't really help too much. All right, guys, I'm going to be wrapping this up in the next minute or so, maybe taking a few more questions. If you haven't liked the stream already, be sure to like it. This is crazy. This is my first stream ever. So if I'm, I don't know, a little nervous, a little anxious, or not too good at reading your comments, apologize. Did you start your stock app? You mentioned your first videos. I did. I've actually started it like 3 different times, which is really annoying, but right now it's on the back burner until I find more time for myself to work on it. But I mentioned it earlier in this stream about that. What are internship interviews like? Is it hardcore like we hear about for engineering full-time positions? For my interviews, no. I had no sort of programming whiteboard style interviews for my internships at all. It was just kind of like a personality, get to know you, make sure you can do some of the jobs, maybe talk about some of your past projects. Those were the types of interviews I had. What was the most attribute that you've took from your NASA internship? Oh, man. That was quite the experience. I was really excited when I got the notification that I got that internship, but I don't know what I could take most, because everything was so cool that there's not one thing in particular that I could take away from that, except for a particular experience, which was I was able to see the test capsule. I'm sure you've heard of the Orion. It's capsule, Orion. They have like a test capsule in this like pool where they test dropping to make sure people in the capsule land safely. That was a really cool experience because I was able to watch that drop. You should do more streams. I think I will. I think I need to have a time limit because I don't really know when to end these streams, but I think I will in the future. I like these. And I'm have it a little bit more put together. But one thing that I don't know if I mentioned, my camera broke. Well, I did mention this in my community tab. My camera broke, so it's right back there. So I couldn't really record a video. So that's why the live stream is happening right now. And one more question to answer. Did you try turning it off and back on again? Yes, it turns on. My SD card was messed up, and then I messed up the SD card, and I messed up the input of the SD card because I was really fiddling with it. But I can fix it. I just didn't want to wait to fix it. That's why I'm doing the live stream. All right, guys, that's it for me. If you haven't liked the stream already, be sure to do so. Once this stream goes live, if there's any other questions that you have, leave those in the comment section. Y'all know how I am with comments. I respond to every comment that warrants a response. Otherwise, I just heart the comment if it's something positive. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I'll try to give you a little bit more heads up on when I do these live streams. Maybe I can do it a little bit more frequently, but I do have a few big things coming in the near future. A few, I think you'll be interested in it. So until next time, guys, have a good one. Peace.